Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. SeKo Starcraft bringing you another game with the legend, Evil Genius Jaedong against Pezz. It's a really nice, simple name. I never was into Pezz as a kid. I don't know if anybody else. They kind of tried to like revitalize Pezz a little bit, but it was an old school kind of candy dispenser handheld thing that I just never really got into. Good luck, Jaedong. I would say the same thing, or go screw up, Jaedong, so that I can maybe win against you. Something like that. So yeah, I've been watching a bit more of Jaedong recently just because he's done so well in the WCS series and then going off into the BlizzCon finals. Very sad to see him lose in the end to SOS. I'm not giving spoilers to anybody, but deal with it. It happened a while ago. 3-1 after going through some really tough people. I think he took out Maru going into that as well. Like there's some tough people he had to take down to make that happen. Might have also took out MVP. You're gonna have to go back and watch some of the replays again. I think he was just... he's in his element right now, and it's really nice to see. And I said, I think he spent a lot of time working on his Zerg versus Terran because he was going up against some of those top talent names. But the Protoss had his number. And we'll see if Pezz has his number in this game here. Going for that third gateway. I'm not thinking we're going to see a Nexus first, but you never know. You never know, right? You have a gas down there, so I'm going to assume it's going to be for some sort of, you know, cybernetics core expand. Get your mothership core out first. Now that whole thing. We are going to have the super safe pool before hatch. It's just the way to do it. It's just too easy for a Protoss player to come down and throw down a pylon, either cannon rush you or fake cannon rushing you. I love fake cannon rushing Zerg players nowadays. You don't even have to have any intention of doing that. All you gotta do is like block the hatch, and then just like hide like one probe. And when the Overlord scouts it, because the Overlords, most people are smart enough to keep an Overlord over here, sees that one probe hanging out, they pull a bunch of drones to go chase it down, and you get out of there. Works super slick. I suggest people try it. Mine games, always good. Cost them a little bit of mining time, flush them a little bit, force them into a position that they're not happy about. Whoa. That was pretty much exactly what I was talking about there. Pulling everything out, potentially to grab that probe. Looked like Jaedong might have been going for a super fast 3 hatch there, but not seeing any expansion. Maybe that just delayed it a little bit. He didn't really want to play that game. I don't play those kind of games. Nexus is going down. Jaedong does see it now. I'm just going to watch Jaedong work for a little bit. You can see the production tab. Nothing too crazy happening right now. I just want to watch the master at work. A lot about Overlord positioning. I like watching, see how they got the hotkeys set up down here. He's got his Overlords that are scouting on hotkeys so he can check them out really fast. His Lings, attack units, hotkey 1. Same way as Shawnee does it. His hatch is set up. I usually do a whole bunch of keys as my first hatch, and then it's just number 4. I usually put my queens as number 5. Right now, his queens are not hotkeyed. Sees the mothership core out there. Knows he's not going to get too much damage in. But as we can tell, there isn't too much we can see. But on the production tab, we can see that there we go, more gateways going down. As well as that warp gate research is going to be done pretty soon. So we'll actually have about 4 gates with his warp gate research ready pretty quick here. And we might see the Protoss player go for some really fast 2-base kind of play. The Overlord sees all this stuff, and you can see Overlord Jaedong can tell very quickly with just a quick glimpse of that Overlord what's going on there. Seeing that probe out on the map though is a little strange. And the mothership core as well. I wonder if he can smell an attack is coming. There's another quick kind of survey of himself and what he thinks is going on. Going to do some scouting. Sees a lot more red on the map. There it is. He knows the attack's coming. Lings are on the way. Speed's about to finish up. Not panicking right now. You can see right now he's still working on those rocks for the meantime. There isn't enough energy right now to get a recall, so he's going to lose all of those zealots. Straight back into production. Should be going to look for that pylon pretty soon, I would think, though.
Our forces are under attack.
Gonna get his expansion down. Layer texture started up, creep going. Now we're gonna pop back to everybody and we'll check out what's happening. The Overlord did come in here. Not much to really be seen right now. Nothing too crazy happened for the Protoss player. Just kind of a 4-gate expand pressure. Nothing like too exceptional about that. Lots of lings out on the map. Is gonna grab the pylon. Units wise, bit of a lead right now for the Protoss player and the overall workers, just because they forced a lot of lings out from Jaedong just to make sure he didn't die to some sort of maybe 6-gate pressure. Super common to do that right now as well. Twilight counts are going down. Forge in place. Lots of sentries down there. When you see that many sentries, you generally think it's not somebody feeling afraid they're going to die. It's usually, well, they're preparing themselves for some sort of attack here in the next little while. That's at least the way I like to look at things. But I play in the crap leagues, so it's difficult to tell what the intention is. So hatch is finished. Creep is down here. Good Overlord spread and vision around the map. You'll be able to see anything that's coming at him here. And a lot of people, I think, are very timid to do this because they'll get out like a Phoenix and shoot at you or something like that. But you'll generally know about those before there's 4 or 5 out. So you'll be able to pull those all back. Having vision and knowing what's coming at you, very, very important. Particularly as a Zerg player where you really just want to spend most of your time droning up. And then somebody walks in with a bunch of DTs and kills you and you die and then you cry. Well, it's hard to cry after you die, but you die. And you cry while you're dying. Good scouting here from the Protoss. He knows what's going on. Zerg player knows pretty well what's going on too. And there's nothing really funky right now going on inside of the Protoss player base. I mean, he's got himself out the Robo on the way. He's got upgrades happening. He's just kind of trying to do like a 2-base stabilization. Just wants to be out there. And he's got the right amount of production buildings here where he feels he can hold this 3rd base. They don't disagree with that. I think that's fine. This is really interesting here from Jaedong. I did not expect him to go into infestors. He doesn't have burrow, does he? He does not. So I'm not too sure what's provoking this. Infestors are either I'm going to go sharking and try to do damage, or they're a very big defensive unit. Like, I'm bringing them out in order to be able to understand a little bit better. Gets a few zerglings there for some force fields. Those infestors are usually there to lock down units against your, broodlords, or against your ultralisks, or against your hydras. But there's not really a big unit composition out right now for Jaedong, like army-wise, besides some zerglings and the infestors. So he's seeing something very interesting about this. He knows the Stalker sentry play, and obviously the Lynx can do very good against this if he can hold them in place. Blink is done, but once again, you're going to be able to have really good fungals. You'll be able to deal with it fine. 4th base is on the way. Constant scouting from the Protoss player. That's something I got to get a bit more in the habit of doing. You don't need to use a bunch of observers that could get sniped down by a stray spore crawler or something. You actually can use just a lot of hallucinated phoenixes to understand things a bit better. So the Protoss player just working on immortals. Doing the tango with a zealot. Crab walk. Send in a few zerglings just to scout what's going on. These are pretty naked. If you blink on top of those, you can do a lot of damage. This is very interesting from Jaedong. And we see the Mutalisk transition might be in the wings for this here. My computer's slowing down. I have no excuse. It's a brand new, good working computer. Looks like he's going to lose all those infestors though. Once again, that was kind of my thought about it. He didn't have the right kind of army that I thought was just going to hold this well. That's a nice little run by. Got himself about, 12 or 13 worker kills. I'm okay with that. It's decent. Creep spread in this game is doing really good for Jaedong. The Protoss player's not on the map dealing with it, but now that he's killed so much, I'm sure he feels a lot more confident. And there really isn't that gas count right now for Jaedong to move into a really huge mutilus count, enough to deal with these +2 stalkers. The army is going to come home. Zerglings are cheap. It's okay. So this is a very interesting style, the mass zergling and fungal style. I think Jaedong just took that engagement in the wrong place. Got blank on top of with all of his units. He's in a pretty good position now economy-wise. I'm sure he's very happy with everything else that's happening. Well, it's 2-2 for the Zerg player. Oh, few gonna squeak by. Is he really gonna go after the Twilight? That's an interesting decision there. Taking though that Immortal would be very worthwhile too, actually. It doesn't look like he's gonna have the chance. The Archons are out. It's kind of a fun unit mix. Uh-oh. Very, very interesting here for Jaedong. I don't see too many people that go for this mass upgraded zergling kind of attack. I mean, it's keeping both of them at a very low supply at this stage of the game. At the 60-minute mark, and they're still, with this kind of economy, very, very low in the actual unit count. I'd almost expect to see another macro hatch or two out of Jaedong because he's making so many zerglings. 3-3 on the way. Be really nice when that adrenal glands gets out, that's for sure. And Greater Spire, kind of his late game intention here. Now the Protoss is now out on the map. The difficulty here is he doesn't have that kind of corner to back himself up against. Does have the splash damage of the Archons in there with +3 pretty quick on the upgrades. And this is just kind of stalling from Jaedong. I don't know any other way to describe it. I mean, he's not going to be able to kill too much with this army comp. But he sure is keeping that Protoss army at home. And if the Protoss army moved out, because it's got to move as a big ball, he could go for a very, very quick base trade. The Neural Parasite's kind of funky there. High Templars. I don't know if Storm is researched though. Where's the Templar Archives? There it is. In a very awkward spot. No, Storm is not finished yet. That is a lot of infestors right now. Pretty good fungals. He's got a lot of the infested terrans out front. There's no armor upgrades on these units, so the infested terrans will do a pretty good amount of damage on these. A little off on that fungal. The great thing is that Jaedong didn't take out the charge of the zealots there. He was able to hit them before that finished. And actually cleaned that up very well. Their supplies are pretty close, all things considered. But he didn't lose a lot or anything really on his economy. And I just got that Greater Spire done. Huge bank on gas. Yeah, there he starts making the corruptors. Hold position on all the lings, doing as much damage as they can. This is such a risky style, this Zergling Infestor play. I'm very surprised by it because the amount of gas it takes to those Infestors, one wrong move and you're just toast. You're toast. Cleaned up a lot of stuff. What does he have for worker kills? 41 workers killed for Jaedong. So they end up doing pretty good with all that. So the Protoss player is still sticking in it for a little bit here. Doesn't really have the economy to afford to get out too many things. This base is completely mined out. He does have, you know, the archives. It'd be great if he got Storm. Against all these Zerglings, Storm would probably have done very well. And he probably had a lot of feedback opportunities to get on some of those infestors. He just didn't hit. Obviously having 3-3 and Adrenal against 3-1 and no charge, he's doing alright. That's a lot of Broodlords. I think the Protoss player is probably just going to leave as soon as he sees those. He has got nothing to deal with the air right now. He's got these Archons, sure. But they're just going to get held back so good by all of the Broodlings that are coming through. There's almost going to be nothing he can do about it. Creeps all the way down to the natural of the Protoss player. 10 more Infestors just to lock down any of the Blink Stalkers. He's sitting with 9 Broodlords. Only +1 on the Broodlords. +2 is about to finish up. So very good awareness from Jaedong. He's got his creep going pretty good. He lost a bit down the middle with that push. But he's got it pretty much all around the map. He's going to just look for a hidden base down here. I don't think he's really convinced that there would be one. He's got a huge bank of gas, so he hasn't even bothered taking his gas at his new base yet. Yeah. That's probably going to be the GG. There we go. Yeah, that was a pretty good game by Jaedong. I don't see this zergling infestor style very much. Very, very interesting. Maybe it doesn't really work at the super ultra pro level because you can get the feedbacks on the infestors or you can get out this splash damage on the zerglings. But that was really well done by Jaedong. I like that a lot. SeKo Starcraft. Hope you guys like that. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate it a whole bunch. We'll have some more action coming at you here real soon.